All right, hello middle school students. This is your second video lesson of the week. Um, Last video we talked about some of the different types of areas in Arizona. We talked about some of the historic sites and landmarks in Arizona. And today we're going to talk about different kinds of maps and why we use them and how we use them. Okay, and plus we always have our bonus lesson on an animal, and today we're going to talk about roadrunners. You see a lot of roadrunners in Arizona. They're very prevalent around this area. So we're going to talk a little bit about those specific type of species and why they're important to Arizona. Okay, so first off, let's do a little introduction into maps. So there's maps all over the history classroom. We've talked about different types of maps throughout the year. Most of you can pinpoint where all the 50 states are on our United States map. But if you look at the globe, right, excuse me, you're going to see 7 continents, right? There's 7 continents on our globe. Can you name them? North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Antarctica, Asia. Okay, so those are the 7 continents. Don't forget Australia on the globe. Now look closer at North American continent and you'll see that's divided into several countries. The 3 largest countries in North America are Canada, the United States, and Mexico. Okay, of course that you know that you live in the United States, but what other country is closest to you? You probably know it's Mexico right below us, right? That is the next closest country to us. There are 50 states in our country, and Arizona was one of the last ones to be added. Find Arizona on a map of the United States. If you have a map in your house, or if you can bring up a map of the United States online, see if you can find a picture of it and bring it up, okay? Arizona is one of 4 states to meet at a point called the Four Corners. Did you know that at the Four Corners, if you straddle that boundary line, you are technically standing in 4 different states at once? Pretty cool, right? All right. Which other states meet Arizona in the Four Corners? All right, so I want you to look at a map, and I'm going to attach a map to this video so that you can pull it up and see the different types of maps we're going to talk about. So I want you to pull up a map of the United States if you can online, and I want you to look at Arizona. Okay, and then I want you to find the 4 states that surround Arizona, and I want you to be able to tell me in our Zoom meeting what those 4 states are. Okay. Maps can give us information about many different things. They can help us get from one place to another or tell us how many people live in a certain area. We have a census that is taken every couple years where people will either knock on your door or mail out a form to ask you how many people live in your house. Okay, and that information gets filled out and sent to the Census Bureau so we know what the population is of every town, every city, every state, okay, and then the whole country as a whole. This week, we're going to learn about different types of maps, okay? And we're going to learn about the tallest mountain. So let's start with all the different types of maps that we can use. All right. Well, what is a map? A map is simply just a drawing of a place. There are maps that show large places, like the whole Earth, and maps that show smaller places, like just one city block. In science, you might use a map of the moon or Jupiter. Maps give us lots of information. They can tell us how to get from one place to another, show us how much rain falls in the Sonoran Desert, or let us know the height of Humphreys Peak. A map is not a photograph of a place. Someone has to draw it. We call a person who draws maps a cartographer. Okay? What's on a map? Even though there are different kinds of maps, maps have some things in common. A map key for one, or legend tells what the different map symbols stand for. For example, a tree might stand for a national park or forest, and a plane might stand for an airport. The compass rose is a part of the map that shows directions. So remember, the compass rose is the 4 arrows that show you north, east, south, west, or never eat soggy waffles, right? It's a way to remember it. Okay, in the map key, remember we have practiced drawing our own map keys, where you would draw a symbol in the box that would represent a landform or area on the map. So a plane for an airport, or a tree for a forest, or the mountain peaks for a chain of mountains, okay? All right, the scale shows the relationship of the size of the map to the size of the actual place. So when we look at a map, say the map of the United States, is Arizona really only the couple inches long that it is on the map? Of course not. We have to scale it down. So again, when you look at a map, there's a little line with numbers on it, okay? So that is the scale of the map. So maybe 1 inch equals 100 miles. Okay, so you get to do a little math to convert the numbers to actual miles. All right, political maps. Okay, so now we're getting into different types of maps. Political maps are the most common maps that you're going to see in schools, and we have a lot of political maps around my classroom, okay? Political maps show the borders of countries, states, or other places. Borders are the boundaries of a place. So remember when I told you about the 4 corners in Arizona, and that if you stand there, you're technically in the boundary of 4 different other states. So again, political maps show boundaries. Physical maps show landforms like mountains, plains, deserts, and bodies of water, okay? So these are the maps that are colored different ways, and they have, it almost looks 3D, it has texture to it. And that's to show you the mountain ranges, the plains, the deserts, and bodies of water. Okay, road maps. Road maps show highways and major roads. So I would ask if you have someone in the house, a parent or sibling, if there are any maps in your house. Before we had GPS, we had to use paper maps to get from one point to another. So I still have a bunch of maps in my house. I actually have had one in my glove compartment before I threw it out. But before we had GPS, we had to know how to read maps. So this is probably the second most common map that people are familiar with. So it's going to show you the different streets, the highways. It has all the names on there, okay? Okay, a thematic map shows information about just one theme, like population or rainfall or natural resources. So remember when we studied Canada and the United States, we had a map with all the natural resources. That would be a thematic map. Or I had you add up the amount of rainfall in South America. That is a thematic map as well. Just studying one element, okay? All right, so we made it through all the different types of maps. Remember, there's the thematic map, there's the road map, there's the physical map, and there's the political map, okay? So those are the maps that you're gonna have to remember. Again, I attached a link to a Word document that has the website on there. You can click on it to see examples of all these different types of maps, or you can just scroll down and there's a picture of it in the Word document as well. All right, so let's go to what is the tallest mountain in the world? I'm sure some of you can guess this right off the top, but I don't know. What do you think? Think about it for a second. What is the tallest mountain in the world? All right, the tallest mountain in the world is in Asia on the border of 2 countries, Nepal and Tibet. The mountain is 29,030 feet high. A long time ago, it was named Chomolungma, which some people say means mountain so high, so no bird can fly over it. It is now called, you guessed it, Mount Everest. It sure is a lot easier to say Mount Everest, isn't it? This mountain is so high that it hits snow and ice year-round, and blizzards bring high winds. It is very dangerous to climb. Almost 150 people have died trying to reach the top. In 1953, Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay became the first people ever to make it to the top and return alive. So, what's the tallest mountain in Arizona? That would be Humphreys Peak. See if one of you can find out how tall that mountain is. Surprise me in our next Zoom meeting. All right, now on to the Roadrunner. Well, I've seen a ton of Roadrunners out in my walks lately. I've been taking a walking break and walking the trails behind my house, and there's tons of roadrunners out there. The western roadrunner is a member of the cuckoo family. Roadrunners are referred to as ground cuckoos because they hardly ever fly. They have strong legs and feet. You may have seen them running along the road when surprised by an oncoming car or truck. Get it? Roadrunner? Roadrunners are about the size of a crow or magpie. The upper body is mostly brown with black streaks and white spots, and the belly is white. Their song is a series of low, sad cooing notes that drop in pitch. Coo, coo. I'm not really good at that. Roadrunners like to eat insects, scorpions, lizards, and snakes. Their extremely long tails often point up. And that's how most people can tell that you've seen a roadrunner versus just a regular bird, is that very long tail. Many scientists say the dinosaurs are more closely related to birds than they are to reptiles. They have found dinosaurs with feathers on them, which links them to the bird family. The roadrunner is a lot like a very small version of an ancient dinosaur. Wow, that's super interesting. All right, well, that's going to be it for our second video lesson this week. I have some discussion questions for you. So if you were paying attention to this lesson, these questions should be pretty easy for you to answer. So now is going to be the time to get your social studies or history notebook out, okay? I'm going to put the questions up so you can see it. Hopefully the glare isn't too bad or you can see the whole thing, okay? So now is the time you're going to want to pause the video, okay, so that you can write these questions down in your notebook, okay? Okay, so remember this week's going to be a little different because we're celebrating Good Friday. So we will not have Zoom meetings this Friday. So instead, this video is going to actually air Thursday morning. I would like you to write down your answers and show them to me Monday morning at 9:30 in our first Zoom academic meeting. So Monday morning at 9:30, you can show me your answers. You also can show me your CNN challenge sheets. If you filled out the whole week, by Friday, you should have all 5 days filled out. You can show it to me in our Zoom meeting on Monday, and I'll make sure that you are entered into that drawing to win a gift certificate for completing the challenge, okay? Some of you are online doing Khan assignments from Khan Academy. If you have any questions about anything on there, or if you're struggling, please email me or let me know in our Zoom meetings. That is the time for you to ask me any questions you have about any of the assignments, whether that be a video assignment, a Khan assignment, or a worksheet assignment, okay? So I hope you had a fun time learning about Arizona this week, and so we're going to continue learning about Arizona next week with some surprises in store for you guys. So stay tuned, and I will see you Monday morning. Bye.